Hello.
Hello,
Is that Melissa?
this is.
Hi, Melissa. This is Julie. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us today. I may have a few callers joining, but in the meantime, I can just give you a quick overview of our background and what we're trying to learn. So my colleagues and I work at an investment research firm based out of New York, focusing on tech and healthcare, so kind of intersecting in healthcare IT. And we've been doing some research into the EHR and RCM space, both on the acute and on the ambulatory side, so in specialties as well. So we thought that given your background at Derm One and being at a specialty, you may be able to offer some insight on the different vendors and their relative strengths and weaknesses. So maybe if you could just give me a little bit of background about your role at Derm One and your participation in vendor selection and implementation.
Sure. So when I was at Derm One, I was VP of operations. I ran the clinics, and then I was also over revenue cycle, and I was over our national call center. So ultimately, when it came down to, the platform that we had in place was one that was in place when I came on board. But due to some of the challenges that we were having with part of the platform, I went through an evaluation process to select a new vendor and had pretty much gotten all of that lined up as well. Then I've also done platform selection and implementation in my prior life with multi-specialty national physician network. Also, I was on committees for integrating platforms with the acute care division. So we were building a platform that served both the ambulatory and the acute care. And then prior to that, I've done EHR selection and implementation probably since about 2006.
Got it. That's helpful. So when you were at Derm One, what vendors did you use for the EHR and the RCM solution?
We had modernizing medicine on the EHR side, and we were using a co-sourcing model with Athena on the practice management side, which is the broken piece.
So can you go more into that and the problems that you had with Athena?
Sure. So there was inaccurate posting. There was a disconnect between web access and Athena. There was problems with unapplied amounts. There was also no systematic way of them working claims. And a good portion of the work was pushed back onto my team to adjudicate and work where, they primarily did, the postings. I think some of the denials were inappropriate. They didn't follow necessarily the best guidelines for appeals. I saw a lot of wasted time where, a claim would clearly be past timely filing and they would go back to work on it 2 years after the claim, was originally submitted. So there's a lot of, I think, waste from that perspective. And then, the cost relative to the work that they were doing, was inappropriate when you compare it to building your own CBO, having your own platform and doing all the work yourself, which is where I was actually migrating to when I was evaluating new product, was to get rid of Athena and bring everything in-house and lower the cost from that perspective.
Yeah. So can you give me a sense of the size, just so I can get a sense of how labor intensive and how much investment it would take to bring everything in-house?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Just can you give me a sense of the size of Derm One and what the investment would be to actually bring everything in-house versus outsourcing?
Let's see. So we had about 37 providers across 4 different states. I'm trying to think what my projected cost was going to be, right about 4.5% of revenue, which is where, so I've had 2 CBOs in my prior life where I had a national physician